Let's go Browns! Something's brewing in Cleveland, and it's not just the quarterback controversy, although that alone could shake the walls of Berea. Buckle up, Browns fans, because what's happening inside this franchise as we approach the 2025 season could change everything you thought you knew about our roster. From a wide receiver turning heads in spring practice, to a rookie running back making national noise, to a quarterback room that's more crowded than ever, we've got a storm brewing. And the fallout? It could define the entire trajectory of our season. I have a few more things to tell you, but before I go any further, make sure you enjoy. But only if you've been a Browns fan for 17 plus years. It's always great to see loyal fans from all generations interacting here. It means a lot to us. If you can, right, go Browns. My heart bleeds brown and orange. Let's start with the wide receiver room, where things seem uncertain, to say the least. Despite their glaring needs, the Browns didn't draft a single wide receiver and made just one addition in free agency, Deontay Johnson. That's right, no new blood in the draft. The pressure is on Jerry Jeudy right now to carry this group. Behind him, we have Cedric Tillman, talented, yes, but still unproven. And there's one name you probably didn't expect to hear, Jamari Thrash. Thrash, who caught just 3 passes over 142 snaps last season, has suddenly surged to WR3 territory, according to Terry Pluto of Cleveland.com. You heard that right. Spring practices showed a noticeable leap in his performance, and the coaching staff has taken notice. Pluto writes, the opportunity is there for Jamari Thrash. Based on the spring practices, Thrash has emerged as number 3. They believe he's made major progress heading into his second pro year. That statement alone sends shockwaves, because if Jamari Thrash is rising, someone else is falling. And that someone is Deontay Johnson. The 28-year-old former Pro Bowler is not just coming off a down year, he's coming off 3 different teams in 2024. And to make matters worse, he skipped Cleveland's organized team activities. That move didn't just hurt his standing with the coaching staff, it opened the door for Thrash to climb. What should have been Johnson's chance to reestablish himself has instead become the very moment he lost momentum. That's not just speculation. If the reports are true, Thrash may already be ahead of him on the depth chart. It's a brutal turn for a player once hailed as a cornerstone in Pittsburgh, and it raises questions about whether he'll have any impact in Cleveland this season. But the intrigue doesn't stop there. Let's pivot to the backfield, where the Browns are trying to recover from a void that seems almost unfillable. With Nick Chubb's status in limbo, fans have been searching for anyone, who could restore some of that magic. And the front office thinks they found that someone, Quinton Judkins. A national champion with Ohio State, Judkins is not only expected to share the backfield in 2025, he's projected to lead it. And let me tell you, fantasy football analysts are already taking notice. Judkins ranks as the number 17 running back on Fantasy Pros list for the upcoming season, making him the second highest rated rookie at his position. That puts him ahead of big names like James Cook and Breece Hall. That's not just promising, that's explosive potential. He's coming off a collegiate season where he split time with Travion Henderson to form one of the most dangerous duos in college football. Browns fans, imagine that same kind of dual threat production, this time alongside Dylan Sampson. Though Sampson also arrived via the draft, the expectation is clear. Judkins is RB1 material, and his fantasy stock? Skyrocketing. But hold on, we're just getting started. Because as promising as the running back room looks, the quarterback situation is anything but clear. In fact, it's chaos. Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Shedeur Sanders, and Dylan Gabriel are all vying for the same throne. Yes, for quarterbacks, all theoretically in the running for QB1. Deshaun Watson? Still on the roster, still under a massive contract. But the Achilles injury has left his future more uncertain than ever. And here's where things really get wild. Kenny Pickett, once a first-round pick and presumed franchise QB in Pittsburgh, is now reportedly being propped up by the Browns, not for starting hopes, but for trade bait. That's right, Cleveland radio host Matt Fontana dropped the bomb, suggesting that the Browns are pushing the Kenny Pickett narrative to improve his value on the trade market. That's not speculation, that's strategy. According to Fontana, if even the Eagles passed on Pickett for someone like Tanner McKee, what does that really say about where his career stands? And the numbers don't lie. Across 30 NFL games, Pickett has thrown just 15 touchdowns to 14 interceptions. That's not the resume of someone you plan a season around. That's the resume of someone you're ready to move on from. And with Watson still looming, plus rookies like Sanders and Gabriel turning heads, how long can the Browns afford to keep 5 quarterbacks on the roster? Fontana thinks Pickett's days in Cleveland are numbered. And if you connect the dots, his underwhelming production, the emergence of young talent, the strategic leaks to the media, it starts to make a lot of sense. So let's wrap up this first part with a question for you, the fans. Is Diontae Johnson done in Cleveland? Can Jamari Thrash really become a breakout star? And is Pickett a part of this team's future, or just a piece in a trade puzzle? And just when you think things can't get more unpredictable in Cleveland, we shift focus to the biggest storyline no one saw coming, the quarterback position that's not just a competition. It's an all-out war for the future of the franchise. With Flacco, Pickett, Sanders, Gabriel, and the shadow of Deshaun Watson still looming, the Browns are heading into the 2025 season with more questions than answers, and for fans, it's either a dream of untapped potential or the beginning of an identity crisis. Let's start with the unlikeliest contenders, rookie quarterbacks Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel. Now, these two names might sound like deep dynasty stashes in fantasy football circles, but within the Browns locker room, they're real contenders. In fact, their presence has created what some analysts are calling the most wide-open quarterback battle in the entire NFL. Let's break this down. Shedeur Sanders, selected in the 5th round, is no ordinary late-round flyer. His college resume? Impressive. 64 passing touchdowns and a completion rate of 71%. That's elite-level efficiency, and it's got scouts quietly buzzing. But it's not just the stats, it's his demeanor, his leadership, and his ability to command a huddle that's turning heads. In Superflex fantasy leagues, Sanders is already being labeled a potential steal. The hype is real, and it's growing by the day. Now add Dillon Gabriel into the mix. Different skill set, different path, but the same goal. Gabriel is another rookie, and while he may not have the national attention Sanders commands, he's making his own case with precision passing and confidence in the pocket. According to internal reports, Gabriel is pushing for reps and pushing hard. He's not backing down from the veterans or the media narratives. And this leads us to one of the most overlooked but crucial dynamics in all of this, the potential for a true redistribution of targets in the Browns' offense. Without a locked-in starter at QB and with the wide receiver depth chart in flux, players like David Njoku and Cedric Tillman could be the biggest beneficiaries. Let's talk about Njoku for a second. Finished 2024 as TE12 in fantasy football and has a real shot to crack the top 5 in 2025. Why? Red zone efficiency, health, consistency. While other tight ends flash and fade, Njoku has quietly become a dependable weapon, and if the Browns roll with a younger quarterback, he could easily become the security blanket every developing QB needs. And then there's Cedric Tillman. Standing at 1.91 meters, 6 feet 3 inches, he's built like a WR1 and he's stepping into a WR2 role with little competition. This isn't just opportunity knocking, it's screaming. SI Fantasy already called him a sleeper, but Browns insiders are going even further. They believe Tillman could emerge as the focal point of the passing game, especially if Jerry Jeudy draws top coverage. The idea? Let Tillman feast on secondary corners and zone schemes. And if Sanders or Gabriel are under center, they'll need someone like Tillman to make those contested catches and big body plays. And here's where the fantasy football world and the real Browns world collide. Analysts are advising a specific draft strategy. In standard leagues, prioritize WRs like Tillman and TEs like Njoku. In Superflex formats, go after Sanders or Gabriel in the later rounds. The upside? Tremendous. The risk? Absolutely worth it. But none of this works without clarity on Deshaun Watson. The elephant in the room. Still on the roster. Still eating a massive chunk of the salary cap. And still unavailable. The Achilles injury has changed everything. Once viewed as the face of the franchise, Watson is now the ghost of Cleveland's past. His contract is effectively untradeable, and his health remains a total mystery. So what does that mean for the future? Here's what we're hearing. There's no way the Browns carry